Hi, this is Dr. Jenny, and this is Unit 3. If you'll notice here, I tell you a little bit about this. Essentially, we are covering questions from Chapter 11, Chapter 12, and Chapter 14. Notice that we skipped Chapter 13. Essentially, what we're doing is that we're going to be working on textbook problems from your textbook, and these will be similar then to the problems that you see in my finance lab. The hope is that by reviewing the concepts in the textbook, when you see this on my finance lab, you'll already have some experience solving the problem. So let's get started with 11-3. In 11-3, we're calculating net present value, we're calculating project's internal revenue return, and we're using discount rates. And I want to explain a few things here, because if you set up problems correctly, this can be a very easy way to evaluate whether or not you should invest in a piece of equipment. So for example, this is saying, is the purchase of the new stamping machine worth our investment? And so the reasons why we would purchase a new machine would be because perhaps it's less maintenance. It could be that it's going to save us money, and going to have some cost savings, and that's probably what this $18,000 per year is for 10 years, are probably cost savings. And so the initial outlay of the stamping machine is $100,000, and then for the next 10 years we're going to receive $18,000 in cost savings. And this would have been something that probably your production manager would have figured out, but it's something that anyone would need. These are the kinds of tools you need to use when you're looking at investing in some purchase of new machinery, or it could, maybe the savings wouldn't be out in the plant, it might be labor costs that you're saving, but essentially this helps you determine. And what here they're telling us in A to use a discount rate of 10%, and so that rate of 10% kind of gives you a clue as to their cost of capital, what it's going to cost them, and what they expect to earn on any investment. So it could, because essentially they're investing in themselves. So what I'm going to do, I've shown you here, this one right here is a way to solve using your financial calculator, but I think my way is a lot easier using Excel. And it doesn't matter what version of Excel you have, it's going to work. And so what we're going to do is that we're going to use a formula called net present value. And so I'm just going to go ahead and kind of type it down here so you can see what comes up. Net present value, and then we need to use a rate. I want to put in 10%. And then we're going to put in these values one at a time. So this is a little tedious here, but we're putting these and putting a comma after each one. And then I'm going to close my parenthesis, and I would subtract my outlay of 100,000, but essentially what I'm going to do is add it, because I already have it negative up there. So I'm going to put that in there. So what you'll see here is we have a positive net present value, and it's quite a bit positive. So it's saying that we not only get back our 100,000, but we get 10,000 above that in doing this decision. So our answer for this, should the project be accepted, should be yes. Now the next one is saying, okay, what happens if we do a 15%? So again, it's the same thing, net present value. We put in the rate of 15%, and then we're going to put in our each of our payments here. And you can't just highlight it, it doesn't work. So for those of you think, I'll just highlight that, nope, don't do it, won't work. And then we're going to close our parenthesis. Again, I'm adding it because I've got that as a negative number. And that shows me that if I were to do this at 15% discount rate, it does not return my investment. And in fact, I have a net present value here of a negative number, and therefore we do not want to accept the project. We would say no. The next thing you're asked to do is called internal rate of return. And so on internal rate of return, it tells us what is the project's internal rate of return. We're actually saying what is the percentage. See, we have a positive here, so we know it's more than 10%. We know it's less than 15% because that shows negative. So I'm going to do equal IRR for internal rate of return, and it says come up with the values. And in this case, I want to do all of the values, both the outlay and the positive, and then I can just guess, and I'm just going to guess 11%. I know it's somewhere in between those two. So when I get done, what it'll do is it'll actually give me the internal rate of return. And then should the project be accepted, I'm going to put depends. And the reason I'm saying it depends is because I don't know exactly what my cost of capital is. Is it 10% as the discount rate in the first and A, or is it 15? If it's 15%, that I would not accept it because it's below that 15% discount rate. If it's 10%, I would say yes, I would accept it. So my answer has to be it depends. And just so you know, Chapter 11 is one of the best chapters to help you determine decisions when you're going to invest. So this is essentially two tools that we've learned already, net present value and internal rate of return, that will help you make that decision. So I hope you're as excited about this chapter as I am. I love this chapter. So talk to you soon.